Hi, Gloria, Amy, Nina. Sorry about the confusion earlier, Nina. Joanne, Kim, Gifted. Great to see you, Mervin as well. Hey, Susan. I see that you brought your friend.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see you all.
Yeah, welcome in.
So nice.
We'll let we'll let like the first couple minutes folks just trickle in. But welcome to Mindful Poetry Moments Fall 2025. Where is everybody calling in from today? I see we have a lot of familiar faces, but a couple new ones as well.
That's awesome. It actually here in Cincinnati does feel like fall today.
Yeah,
A few
it
days ago,
truly
it did
feels
not.
like fall came around this week.
Yeah, which is nice. I have my cup of tea. So now it's officially very fall and a sweater.
You have another Cincy, Toronto from Catherine, Nina's from the UK.
A very international group today. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Amazing.
Jenny's out on the West Coast. Yeah, we're hitting all the points.
Mervin's in Germany.
Mhm.
Wow, I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah. Julie's here. Wade, some more Cincy, more West Coast. Welcome in.
Hi, everybody.
All right, you want to get started?
Yeah. I'll kick things off. So welcome back to all of our regular mindful poetry gatherers. Um, this is our first mindful poetry moments gathering of the fall 2025, before National Poetry Month in 2026, when we have our signature experience. My name is Patrick. I manage Mindful Poetry Moments. And I know we have a lot of familiar faces here, but for anybody that's new, Mindful Poetry is a program of the well that's been going on for 6 years. And we offer poetry to poetry lovers of all ages, K through 12, and also adults, like in this cohort here. Um, and we offer them a mindful approach to poetry, working with a variety of collaborators, poets, community leaders, mindfulness practitioners, etc. And the concept for the virtual gathering is pretty simple. In this 1 hour, we will meditate, we will listen to a poem, discuss, write, and then share. Um, and additionally, for folks that are unable to attend these meetings, but wish to participate in the prompts and the activities that we interact with today, this meeting will be recorded. So if you wish to be edited out of this recording, please let me know via email after the session or during or whenever. Um, so yeah, with all this being said, I am gonna jump right into our session today. Um, so if you're able to, uh, place your feet on the floor, get settled, sit up nice and tall, place your hands on your lap, softly in front of you on your desk, your table, your knees. You can close your eyes or softly focus them and feel your breath move through your body. Today, I want to engage in a simple naming meditation, or it's also called a noting meditation or labeling. And the technique is pretty simple. So maintain a gentle awareness of your thoughts, your surroundings, and sensations. So right now, you might experience a fleeting thought. Something might be stressing you out in some other part of your day. Um, you might be feeling somewhat uncomfortable right now. You might have an itch on your arm, etc. Instead of being reactive to those thoughts and experiences, and instead of trying to push those things out of your head, instead just simply label your experiences as they come to you, acknowledging them. So I think for our purposes as poets, you can label the verbs. Uh, right now, for instance, I'm talking, thinking, I'm sitting, I'm sitting up straight, I'm adjusting, and I'm breathing, and I'm breathing, and I'm sitting, and so forth. And with this gentle awareness around you, also notice what comes to your senses, the things around you, even. So, the bowl of blueberries on the table, the scent of shampoo, the hair that might be falling across your face, or the hair of another person that you notice is brushed against your nose. Name these things. They're not distractions. Just name everything that comes to you precisely to arrive at the present moment. And continue naming for a few more moments. Start to gently come back into your awareness and the full awareness of your surroundings. Maybe do a little movement, rub your hands together, stretch your back, your arms, that sort of thing. And yeah, thank you for engaging with that. Um, I now I want to introduce our poetry facilitator for today, familiar face. Uh, Today we are collaborating with Erica Manto Paulson. Erica is a poet and artist whose work continually explores the intersections of language, movement, and emotion. Erica was named 2022 Ohio Poet of the Year and a Pushcart Prize nominee. Erica is committed to evolving her craft, engaging deeply with both the collaborative energy of fellow artists and a reflective space of solitude. Erica is also a doula, a childbirth educator, and certified clinical hypnotherapist. She is the co-owner and founding mother of Nurture, a holistic wellness center focused on supporting birthing people and their families through pregnancy, birth, and postpartum, with a special emphasis on empowering families to thrive in their journey. So, without further ado, I will pass the torch to Erica Manto Paulson.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here with you all today. And excited to start with the poem that I selected for today, which is Trim. Or if you're able to share that poem. As we're approaching this poem, and this is familiar to those of us who have been to mindful poetry before, but just to say that we're going to approach this poem not to dissect it, but to engage with it. We're approaching this poem as a living ritual of artistic expression, and we're going to pay attention to what this poem evokes in us. So listen to sounds and pay attention to your senses, textures, feelings, maybe even feelings in your body. If you feel a tightening in your chest or if you get butterflies. This is an incredible poem by the incredible poet Yalie Saweda Kamara, and I'm really grateful to engage in this poem with you all today. So I'll start by reading it. And it's so tiny, so I'm going to have to put on my reading glasses for it. Trim. At the end of the story, we exchanged hair, 2 tiny Ziploc bags, little plastic windows. I sheared off the tip of my braid, candle wick twist tight. Please use these dead cells to make new words. We never baked the blueberry crumble. Let the mashed bowl of indigo fruit on the counter be your ink. Dip me whole into the sweet blood and try to write about cutting hair and a scissors song. Its sound akin to a memory holding its own breath. I wear your black cursive on my chin and imagine being the teenaged boy that you will raise with a lover that looks like me. I wrap you around my wedding finger, pull and watch you snap back until you yawn. I dress you in the foam of apricot shampoo, spin you in my palm to wash out time. At midnight, you lay me at the nape of your neck, guarding your spine in the blue violet of dreams intermissions. We are climbing strands to each other's roots, searching for homes that we have already passed. Behind your head and in my hands, we are closer than a secret. Wow. Ooh. This poem is so rich with imagery. It evokes all of my senses when I read this poem. And I'm curious, maybe we can even take the poem down just for a moment as we check in with each other about what did this poem evoke in you. I will say for me, and again, paying attention to feeling, just what did it do in your body? What came up for you? For me, I felt almost possessed by this poem. Like as a reader, I'm merging with this poem. Not like I'm being possessed, but this I became these words. When she said, I sheared off the tip of my braid, I felt myself do that. I've never done that. But what's so amazing is how these words just call us in. So I feel that immediately we're just like the poem just pulls us in because it speaks all of these images just speak to our senses that we just are so engaged with those feelings right away. Anyone have anything you want to shout out or share in the chat about what did this poem evoke in you, either today or if you've read it before? Nina shared, it does make you feel like you're walking through it as shadow. Yeah, that's a great way to say that.
It
Anybody else?
it also gave the nostalgia of an old friendship when we were kids.
Yeah.
And we would have blood sisters or blood brothers and we would share and intertwine in that way, that our friendship was that important that we
Yeah.
had to share a piece of one another's DNA or
Yes.
so it brought about that nostalgia.
Oh, absolutely. It's like ritualistic. Even when the very first stanza where the speaker says two tiny Ziploc bags, little plastic windows, that felt cathedral to me. I felt like I was peering through these like majestic, sacred windows into what is actually a very intimate act. So it's amazing how there's like this intimacy between the speaker and this other in the poem, which maybe changes from time to time. I don't know if there is an actual you that's consistent in the poem, but this I of the speaker is so clear. And we're invited into this sacred intimacy. But yeah, it like touches these parts of us where you're like, I know what you mean. I've been there. Anyone else?
The shortness of the lines made me feel a rising tension, how short
Mhm.
every line was.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but when I read the poem, my brain sometimes wanted to finish what I thought the next word would be, and she just would catch me off guard because it wasn't what I expected. And as I read the poem again, that's part of that introspection that makes me think, what is this calling in me to fill in the blanks? Or what is this? Why can't I just listen to this poem? It makes me uncomfortable. Ooh, that's cool. What am I uncomfortable with? Why do I need to finish someone else's words? That causes some of that, like, huh. And I felt it took a couple reads of this poem for me to really be led. It feels like I'm being blindfolded into the next line. Like I have to wait until the next line to figure out where we're going here. And that is some of the craft of the poem. Like Lynette said, those short lines and the enjambment where she just kind of lops it off at the end of one line and goes to the next one, it gives you this sense of like, where are we going? But did anybody feel like it kind of makes you trust the speaker? The speaker seems so sure of where she's going. And maybe for me, this causes me to say, oh, I guess I have some trust issues here because she's so confident. And I had to really let go and let the speaker kind of take me into this poem. Yeah, Jenny.
It's interesting. I kind of had an opposite reaction just only because at the end of the story, and then there's just this aging of the sun. So there's no time. I mean, I can trust that we're with I trust the author, but I am being transported through a lot of different time. And so
Yeah.
that can feel slightly uneasy to me because I'm like, there's an end to the story at the very beginning. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think that is really, I love that you just said that. I wrote down that the poem blurs the boundaries between the physical and the imaginative. It's like everything we can imagine in this poem is real. And it had a transformational essence to it, almost like a metamorphosis or, and that I got this sense of like transcendence or transferring, but also, did anyone sense any loss, grief? Something was given away, and there's some loss there. But also some of that loss seems to be transferred or transcended into the art of the poem. So when um, there is a couple lines that speak to the art. We never baked the blueberry crumble. Let the mashed bowl of indigo fruit on the counter be your ink. So now we know we need that ink. Where did that come from? That came from something that was lost or that didn't happen. Um,
I
any
find
other?
that there's like that experience that like amputees have of like the ghost limb sort of effect. And like I think that's definitely the case between like the speaker and the lover in this poem, of how that experience of like that missing person is still like physically, like importantly, very physically present in your life. And I think too, like, I don't know about everyone else, but the experience of like of hair touching my skin is like a very intense, is a weirdly intense experience, despite the fact that it's such little contact. You know what I mean? Like a single
Mm-hmm,
strand of hair. And that, like, just think about how little contact that actually is, but the immense effect that it has on your system.
mm-hmm.
And I think that effect is sort of achieved here too with Yalie's poem.
Yeah, I like what you said about the ghost limb. It's like you feel like you want to itch something, but it's not there. You feel like you should be able to touch something, but an amputee really speaks to some very, very deep loss, actually, and in a different way. Um, the poem is also erotic. It's erotic, um, and it's also spiritual at the same time. There's this continual, like, transcendence even within the stanzas. And Mervyn shared that if you read the stanzas in reverse order, there's a different power and vulnerability to it. I didn't even think about doing that, but I'm definitely going to need to do that later because I think that would be a really interesting read. Anybody else? I also wrote that the sensory details of the poem tether the poem to embodied memory. So we know that when we remember things, sometimes we remember it as like, like we're cognitively remembering what happened, like our brain is just reliving that for us. But some of it is just like in my body, I feel this memory. I don't really have like a picture of it, but something in my body remembers that. Um, I had a very close friend of mine pass away this year, and every once in a while I'll see something, and I couldn't exactly say like I remembered her, but something in my body was like, oh, I feel her there in that. And I feel that that's what this poem does. It's like the somatic memory, the body memory is really woven into every line of this poem, and it's an invitation to enter into that space. It's this invitation of like make something living out of what has ended. I hear that in these lines. Make something living. What can you do? Who are you? What did you become? Make something living out of what has ended. Anybody else? Wade shared he's getting a feeling of a kid singing to themselves, kind of like they're lost. Is that what you mean? Like kind of like I'm in my world, I'm humming, I'm there and I'm here at the same time. Yeah, I think this poem lives in several layers. And actually, this is something we do all the time. Like we're living in our past and in our present and in our future. And part of presence, which is something that we really practice, this practice of presence is just being aware of that. I really liked the meditation that Patrick invited us to do because it's like be aware of what's happening here, but don't be led in so many different directions that you forget where you are right now. Um,
Erica, I had a
yes.
thought.
Yeah.
I listened to the little sound bite on poets.org that Yalie said about this poem, and I thought it was interesting that she used the word archival as a way to describe what this poem is trying to get at. Like you were saying, trying to make something that sort of
Yeah.
lives beyond and trying to like trust another, and it's almost like trusting another person to be in charge of that. Yeah, I love that word and the emotions for me that archival brings up versus just saving or remembering.
Yes, because it has a very different connotation, archival. That brings it back to like ritual, like a sacred practice. It's very intentional. Um, and even the act of archiving itself is not possessive. It's not trying to control, it's trying to honor or witness or mark. Instead of, there can be a certain possessiveness over our memories where we don't want to forget. But it's, archiving something is like honoring the space that it lives in and actually honoring the space in your body that is connected to that, knowing that it's always here. Like all of those pieces are part of us.
Mm.
Um, so before we move into the prompt that I have for us, I do want to say that at the end, I would love it if anybody else feels led to read the poem for a final time. If you want to do that, you can certainly. I just wanted it to kind of take time to think about that. If you feel called or led to read this poem, I would love to invite anyone who feels led to read the poem to do so at the end. Um, and I feel like it's a good time to jump into our prompt because I want to have plenty of time to discuss whatever comes out of this for you. But the prompt that I brought is this. Let me make sure. Oh, I got so many notes down here. Okay. Write about something you've exchanged, physical or emotional, that became a way of remembering. I wrote the word remembering, but I actually like Bryce's word archiving better. So maybe thinking of it from that perspective. Write about something you've exchanged, physical or emotional, that became a way of archiving. So we'll do that and then we'll return to share what came to you at 3:40.
Yeah.
See you then.
Right. If you could finish up your thoughts and maybe like the last two lines of your poem, we'll come back, and if you feel invited to share what you wrote, we would love that. We invite you to share. And Erica will call out on those folks that wish to share.
Yeah, we can either raise your hand, or if you want to drop your name into the chat, I can just call on you in the order that I see. Let's go with the drop your name into a chat just to not make it confusing. But I don't see any names yet. So who wants to go first? There we go. Okay, Jenny, I saw your name first. Thank you for sharing.
Sure, sure. All right. Over a century ago, my great-grandfather found a wooden butter bowl. That bowl now sits in my kitchen, dark and slick with generations of butter, the lines of the lathe carving the wood, plus time pressurizing the soft parts and raising the harder rings of my precious legacy. This bowl has been held by the child hands of my grandfather, my mother, my cousins, my sister, grabbing handfuls of hot popcorn, salt rubbed into their pant legs, drinking from butter-slicked Cokes, bottles of Coke. My grandfather gave me this family heirloom, the only thing I wanted while he was still living. It is still living, breathing and in my Indiana cornfield, hot summer, cold winter, crackling fire, basketball games, deep hugs, boisterous laughter of him.
Wow. Beautiful. Thank you. Next in the chat, I see Elena.
Hello. Okay. I love Yalie, so I'm a huge fan.
Me too.
Yeah. So this poem is called The One Kiss Remembered. I was 10 and you were almost 30. You took me out of class to say a second goodbye. I didn't fully understand war, but that you said it is where you are going. Just before we parted, you planted a big kiss on my lips. I was startled by the affection. When our mother died, I was 5 and you were 25. Love and hugs went with her. You saved me from abuse to the South, everything new, boiled peanuts, barefoot on the back of a pickup truck, the mind-blowing fact that cotton balls were grown. You poured 5 years of abandonment away in a single kiss. I always say that you were the first person to kiss me on the lips. It was more than that. It was a revelation that love never left. You never returned to get kissed back. Thank you.
Elena, thank you so much. That's beautiful. And I love to see some of the callback lines showing up in the chat or just the feedback. That's beautiful. Now I have to scroll up. Amy, thank you for sharing. Amy, you're still muted, I think.
Now you are gone, dead, not gone. Your traces linger like music, and your music lingers deep in our hearing. Your widow asked for a tape of your playing, the cello you embraced for decades until you no longer could. Searching through cartons, one lone tape arose of unrepeatable music. you made, now archived on frail mylar ribbon. Mm.
Amy, thank you. Wow. Amazing what we can do in 10 minutes. Wade, thanks for being next.
There's nothing akin to the night sky but the beckoning universe of a fir tree. I'm an astronaut at 20 feet up, pausing to pop sap blisters and adorn my face with lichen. I think we know that astronauts never come back. Their bodies return sure enough, but it's a one-way trip. I'll climb up and then down. I'll discover colonies of ants in the dead interior branches, relentless and aloof. Further up the trunk narrows, here's the wind and confused birds. Why is this moss so wet? I'm all needles and bugs. Trunk narrows, then bends, needles sharpen. I'm invisible up here. Up is easier than down. Here the shirt slips up and it's just my belly against the trunk. It hurts. The temptation to drop or leap onto the hillside. I promise I'll climb again. I never climb again. Who was that boy?
Oof, that last line. Thank you. Gifted, you are next. Thank you.
Sorry. All right. In and out of focus of my view, a kaleidoscope of colors slip through my hand as I pour the complexities of my heart onto the empty canvas. Full bright red colors bleed and blend to purples and brown hues. Lost in a maze of confusion, overwhelmed in a sense of urgency to find my own harmonious pairing or gradient. Yet there's no place to call home of the perfect shade. Thanks.
Thank you. I love how it just slowed down at the end. Each word held so much weight. Thank you.
I think we accidentally skipped Susan and
I'm sorry. Yeah, because I keep having to scroll back up and then scroll back down. Susan.
There you go. Is it? Oh.
Thanks, Patrick.
Untitled. As I sat, eyes closed, feet to floor, hands asking on my knees, I felt my pulse at my left wrist. I sit still almost in experience. I think of a past lover, the way waves fell over us two, breathless in our secret, never the same before or to come, perhaps a child, probably not, simple smiles.
Sensual. I love that. Okay. It looks like Nina. You are next, friend.
Thank you. My blood pressure is monitored by the light blue tube vein, and every time I wrap my arm, I see you, smiling. Mum took this kit, being of an age she felt it necessary. Years after you died, she was diagnosed like me. We both have white coat syndrome. None of our doctor appointment readings are ever good enough. I recall our mantra in the last year of your life on earth. Be more Sheila. And you somehow hold the tension of the tightness of the band, which feels like it has cut my circulation completely and replaced pain with a deep inhalation, an abstraction of worry from my busy mind, exhalation, and then our inherited machine from boots beeps. The pressure lifts, and I see my arm is still with me, working as it should, able to write the thoughts of you to this page. And I share it with Mum, deliver it backwards and forwards from her home to mine, like I should do a grandchild. Deepest exhalation. And your soft hand holds my heart and whispers, me too. We, the childless spinsters of our family tree, you point out my branch is as strong a hold as any of the others. Thank you.
Nina, thank you. This is why community poetry is so important. And thank you so much to the Well for creating this space for us. Look what we did in 10 minutes. Wow. I don't think I would even know to carve 10 minutes out of my day or how to find it. But thank you to Yalie for her incredible poem that called us here, that evoked these things in us, to our discussion, to everything that was shared in the chat, to the time, to whatever you had to do to be here, to carve out the time. There's people here from all over the world, and we are sharing space in this time, right here, right now, which is so powerful. So I love the beginnings of these poems, and encourage you to see where it will take you on the page, on the canvas, in your heart. It's already doing something. We have been possessed by this poem. We have it, we've merged with these words and this experience, which is beautiful. Does anybody, oh, I see we have one more reader, and it looks like we have time for that. Is that okay, Patrick? Okay, thanks, Elena. Isti, please read.
Thank you. The end of an ending of a never-known secret. At the end of the story, we got back from strangers to once more. Thinking about to hug each other physically would be too far, which had already disappeared into thin air. Our words are even never entwined one another anymore. Days pass by and passes by into months, into years, soon into decades. But for sure it would never reach centuries because sooner or later time would pull us even farther apart like it used to push us. At the end of the story, none will realize this at all. None will name this secret because they never realized it was, and it is one. Thank you.
Thank you so much for reading. Thank you. Does anyone feel led to read the poem a second time? Can raise your hand if you want. I'm happy to read it one more time.
Seems like
Elena?
yeah.
Thank you, Elena.
My hand just won't go down. Okay. Trim by Yalie Saweda Kamara. At the end of the story, we exchanged hair. 2 tiny Ziploc bags, little plastic windows. I sheared off the tip of my braid. Candle wick, twist tight. Please use these dead cells to make new words. We never baked the blueberry crumble. Let the mashed bowl of indigo fruit on the counter be your ink. Dip me whole into the sweet blood and try to write about cutting hair and a scissors song, its sound akin to a memory, holding its own breath. I wear your black cursive on my chin. I imagine being the teenaged boy that you will raise with a lover that looks like me. I wrap you around my wedding finger, pull and watch you snap back until you yawn. I dress you in the foam of apricot shampoo, spin you in my palm to wash out time. At midnight, you lay me at the nape of your neck, guarding your spine in the blue violet of dreams' intermissions. We are climbing strands to each other's roots, searching for homes that we have already passed. Behind your head and in my hands, we are closer than secret.
Thank you, Elena. Patrick, real quick before I hand it over to you, I just want to say thank you for having me today. It was wonderful to be here with all of you. And I would love to see you at a future Well event. I'm just going to plug Manuel's class that he has coming up, the Unrepeatable Fire. I'm currently in the first cohort. I see some of my friends here that are in that with me as well. And it's an incredible class. It's about developing your personal poetry, your personal poetics. And he's offering it again in January. I'm definitely going to be there. It's virtual. And we would love to see you there as well. So thank you for being here. It was an honor. I wish you all a wonderful day today. And now,
Thank you, Elaine.
Thanks again, Erica.
Sure.
Both Erica and Manuel, they both wrote the preface to this past year's Mindful Poetry Moments anthology. So both very valuable members of our community, not just for that, but for bringing so much potency to like all of our gatherings that we have. I just a couple notes at the top. I would love it if you feel inclined, if you would like to share some of the poetry you wrote during this session. We can share that on our website. And if you just want others to have the ability to read it, we would love that. Um, if you wish to be edited out of this session, remember that you were only recorded if you've spoken. But if we will post a video of this session, so let me know if you do not wish to be in the video. And finally, we will be having another virtual gathering. Um, it will be on November 19th, same time from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're actually joined by another one of our poetry facilitators, Mervin, will be facilitating, which we're so excited about. Um, so yeah, please reach out to me if you have any questions, if you want to send poetry, um, or anything in general. Thank you guys for attending, and thank you again, Erica.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Erica. See you tonight. Bye, Catherine.
Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Have a
buddy.
great night.